We're holding this event on the occasion of World Cup, so it would not be complete without some football. In regard, we will now show a short video from the soccer team partner, followed by a short video and remarks from the coach of the men's former goalkeeper, Ms. Wyant, as the goalkeeper since 16 and played in the United States. She was the first goalkeeper national team to record its first win. Thank you.
My life is an example of how decisions made by others opened up enormous opportunities for me. Thank you for everything you are doing to improve women's lives around the world, and thank you for giving me this opportunity now. As a young girl growing up under the hot sun of South Florida, I was always out playing with the boys and doing what all the boys did. And a girl playing sport as good or maybe better than the boys back then was not considered normal. But I was growing up in a changing society where women were emerging, and thankfully I had the support of my strong mother. I spent all of my free time playing sport as the only girl with all the boys at the local community park. One day I came home from the park frustrated and I had tears in my eyes. Right away my mom asked me what was wrong, and I told her I had just gone out to try and join the baseball team that was being formed, and the coach told me that girls were not permitted to play baseball. She was standing there looking at me. She had some clothes in her hands because she was doing some laundry, and she slammed them down on the floor and she ordered me to get my stuff. Oof, I could tell my mom was mad. I raced out the door behind her, jumped in the car, and as she backed out of the driveway, I held on for dear life as she floored the gas pedal down, and off we flew. Before I knew it, we were back down at the park. I was still trying to catch her as she marched right up to the baseball field where the male coach was standing and told him, "You're going to let my daughter play baseball, or I'm going to sue you and the entire town for discriminating against her." I was only 9 at the time, but that decision by my strong and fierce mother to stand up for me when I didn't have the ability to stand up for myself would provide a lifelong example that I deserve the same as everyone else. Oh, and I did get to play baseball. And in addition to my mom standing up for me, my government had also stood up for me by passing a law a few years earlier called Title IX, which prohibits discrimination based on gender and would profoundly change and open opportunities for girls and women, especially in sport. Title IX was signed into law in 1972 when I was a young girl, and it is one of the most consequential decisions made by individuals in positions of power. A girls' soccer team was formed at my high school, and I joined the team. A fantastic decision because I was really good at the sport. Then colleges started adding women's soccer, and I was given a scholarship to attend the University of Central Florida. Society was changing rapidly for women, and I was always finding myself at the right place at the right time. Individuals within the United States Soccer Federation who had power and the ability to allocate money made a decision to start the U.S. women's national team. The timing couldn't have been more perfect for me. The first team was formed, and I was selected to the squad, which was another life-changing moment for me. The start of the team was humble, and the inequities were already present. The early players, that included myself, we were extremely grateful to be given an opportunity to represent our country, but we spoke up immediately about the lack of resources and support. I'm humbled to be a part of this incredible legacy of the U.S. Women's National Team, and I have been so proud to see every generational player continue to fight for equity. My generation of players started the battle 35 years ago, and just recently we saw the realization of equal pay and equal resources for our women. This positive change comes from speaking out and the absolute determination by individuals to continue to force positive changes. However, there is still work to be done. For this year's World Cup, FIFA, soccer's global governing body, will distribute $440 million to the men's World Cup teams. Compare that to the $30 million for the Women's World Cup in 2019. There clearly continues to be underlying systemic issues ingrained in the sport from years of inequality. Progress is possible, and I'm a perfect example of that. In that community park 40 years ago, I was just a kid wanting to play sport. I didn't set out to make history by being a female coach of a men's soccer team. In fact, having that goal so long ago would have elicited a few laughs and maybe some questionable looks. But that's where I am now, because of hard work, dedication, and opportunities that were created by individuals standing up and making decisions that positively impacted my life. If there's one thing I've learned, it's that your career, it may not always be obvious or go smoothly from point A to point B. But if you keep at it, put in the time and effort, and never lose sight of your passion, you can land the job of your dreams. 7 years ago, my phone rang with that dream job and another chance to make history. On the other end was Janice Quinn, the longtime senior associate athletic director for New York University. It was one game into the 2015 season, and the NYU men's head coach quit. And Janice told me I was the person they thought of to take over the team, and on the spot, I was offered the job. You would think I would have accepted it without hesitation. I'd played in college. I'd played in the national championship game. I'd played on the women's national team. I have been inducted into 3 Soccer Halls of Fame and also been recognized by the National Soccer Hall of Fame. I had won 2 national championships with my club team, yet I was unsure, even though I had coached for years. There's no question I'm a good coach and was as qualified as anyone. There's a lot of interest in the fact that I'm a woman coaching a men's team, but the true challenge at that moment was taking over the team in the middle of a crisis. I called upon my entire network for guidance, support, and encouragement, and still wrestled with the decision up until the moment I accepted the job. I knew there would be a lot of people looking at the fact that I was a woman leading a men's team, and I could fall flat on my face, suffer an incredible public failure, and ultimately be signing up for something I might regret. But in the end, I realized I would rather go for it and risk failure than watch the opportunity pass me by. The team I was brought on to coach was incredibly professional, welcoming, and inviting, and the transition went more smoothly than I could have imagined. I focused on gaining every player's confidence by doing what I do best, and that is to coach and organize a soccer team. For 7 seasons, I was the only female head coach leading a male sports team in any sport pretty much worldwide. I was given the opportunity because of my credentials and experience, by being at the right place at the right time, and by a decision made by a woman also in a leadership role. And then, just this past season, another female coach, Julie Ann Sitch, was hired to lead the University of Chicago men's soccer team. A decision to hire a female coach was also made by a female in a leadership role. Now, there are 2 of us. A chance at more history came on October 28th, when, according to the New York Times, a landmark game occurred when our 2 teams, NYU versus the University of Chicago, met in a game in what is believed to be the first game ever held where men played against men and both teams were led by women. More history was coming because Julianne became the first woman to lead a male team to a national title. The University of Chicago just completed a miraculous season with an impressive 22 wins, 0 losses, and 1 tie. Fittingly, the only team they were not able to beat was my team, because on that day, landmark game where two male teams being led by women ended in a 0-0 tie. For the last 30 years, I have been pursuing greatness within the sport of soccer in whatever capacity I could in that moment, always laying the groundwork for what might be next. Whatever you are passionate about, make sure you chase great. Anything done well is more powerful and will open more doors than you can ever imagine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Wyant. I am very grateful for Ms. Wyant, who has made this very, very important sharing of her journey. She was supposed to be here in person today, but at the last minute she wasn't feeling well, and she pretty much said it was important to at least send a message to everyone in the room. So that's why we have this video today, even though she wasn't feeling well. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge Mr. Jeffrey Bernstein. Mr. Bernstein, please stand up. He is the Athletic Communications Manager at NYU and really helped to facilitate this. Thank you.